Alright, hey YouTube, Nate here. So Apple finally had their big media event today to finally announce their long-awaited and highly rumored tablet computer. So the name is the the iPad. So yeah, let's just start with that. I don't like it at all. I much would have preferred iSlate or iTablet because when I hear iPad, all I think about is female hygiene products and just it's a dumb name. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, it just doesn't have a nice ring to it at all. So, yeah, moving on. On the outside, you're just going to see an iPod Touch or an iPhone stretched out both directions. That's pretty much what you got there. The button on the bottom is the same size. It's just the home button. You got a lock button and a volume rocker, headset jack, your dock connector, built-in speakers, and then a built-in microphone. And also, on the 3G version, there's two separate versions, I'll get to that later. On the 3G version, on the outside you're also going to find a micro SIM card slot, but I'll get to that later. The screen is 9.7 inches widescreen. It's your basic Apple multi-touch display, and yeah, 9.7 inches. On the inside you're going to find Apple's new A4 chip running the whole thing, and from the sounds of it, it sounds like it's going to run pretty nicely. It's 1.5 pounds and 1.6 pounds, not that that makes much of a difference if you are going to have 3G, and it's 0.5 inches thin, which is pretty nice for how big the actual computer is. So, as I was saying before, the computer does come in, or the tablet I shall say, does come in two different versions. It comes in a Wi-Fi enabled version and a Wi-Fi and 3G enabled version, and also in 16 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte, and 64 gigabytes. So that's different versions you can have, and the pricing goes as follows. For the 16 gigabyte versions, it's $4.99 or $6.26. For this 32 gigabyte version, it's $5.99 or $7.29. And for the 64 gigabyte, it's $6.99 or $8.29. So I just want to stress how cheap this actually is. I got this 16 gigabyte iPod Touch like 2 years ago when it first came out. This is the first generation. I got this for $3.99. For $100 more, you can get a 16 gigabyte tablet. That's pretty crazy. And for $8.29, you get the ultimate 64 gigabyte 3G enabled one. And that's also cheaper than a laptop, but not saying that this should be a laptop replacement, which it really shouldn't. Moving on, the 3G version does come with a micro SIM card slot, like I said before. This can be used to get SIM cards from other carriers besides at&t to be able to use on the tablet. So Apple's slowly kind of moving their way away from at&t, but the main provider for this tablet, the iPad, is going to be at&t still, and it's going to be $2.99 or $29.99 a month for unlimited data. So that's pretty good. Alright, now let's move on to the software aspect of the iPad. Like the hardware aspect, it is very much like the iPhone. It has the nice clean interface with the apps in a row with different screens and the dock at the bottom. The only main difference with the apps itself is that they're a little revamped, especially the music player is nice and fresh and new, looks a little bit like iTunes, and then also the calendar is revamped and also the photos are revamped. Other than that, it's just small subtle changes to kind of make it a little more advanced and a little nicer for the wider display. Other than that, you are going to be getting the iBook store too. That sells ebooks starting at $4.99. That's, ebooks are cool and all. I don't see myself really using ebooks ever, so that's not that exciting, but it does have a pretty nice interface with like your bookshelf with the books you own, and then it flips over to the store, and you can buy more books, and then go back into your bookshelf, yada yada yada. And it's just, Apple's nice little things that they add into the software that they have that makes them nice to use. Other than that, any applications that you do have on your iPhone or iPod Touch will work on the iPad, and by all I mean most. I'm guessing there will be a few that probably don't really work, but from what I can tell from some videos, I think a smaller box
is on the tablet itself that you play the games or run the applications in, and you can expand it, and then I'm guessing it gets a little pixelated. I'm hoping I'm not right when I say that, but I think that could be the case on some applications, and that's a little sucky. But the good news is developers are able to make their own software for the tablet, so I think that's really what needs to happen to push the tablet into its own realm and separate it from its brother in the iPod Touch and the iPhone. I think it does have some great potential, but at the moment it just kind of looks like a bigger, bulkier version of the iPod Touch that I can't make phone calls on. I can just check the web, check my email, and overall it's just a media player that maybe could be useful to some business people, but I think for the most part, the only people who are really going to use it are just consumers that just want to listen to music or watch videos. I think it would be a really good video player. That's about the extent of what I think it's going to be able to do at the moment. I'm hoping, like I said before, that once developers start making some apps that we can get some really cool stuff on there. But at the moment, I just think it's going to be hit or miss. I hope it does well, but I think it's very likely that it does turn into the next MacBook Air, and kind of just flop. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping that it does well, but I'm not really thinking that it will. So as always, thanks for watching, and send me any messages about what you think, and if you have any questions about what I think. And as always, guys, leave comments, and thanks for watching.